I never see them.
Maybe I'll ask Kathy about that for next time.
That's kind of cool. You see that?
The one thing I found, if you don't put the mic kind of right here, you can't hear it. I don't know why. I couldn't hear Dave Parkinson. Maybe I'm going.
Yeah, I can hear them right here.
Recording in progress.
Welcome to the Sunbury Council meeting. It is July 7th at 7:30 PM. Would you please join me for the silent prayer and the pledge of allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Belcher, roll call, please.
David Capel.
Here.
Joe's.
Here.
St. John.
Here.
Greg Elliott.
Here.
Martin Fisher.
Here.
Cindy Cooper. Here. Dave Martin.
Here.
7 yeas.
We did have a meeting last Wednesday, June 30th, 2021. Of a motion on the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes.
A motion by Gregory Elliott,
Second.
second by Damon Capel. Discussion. Roll call.
Greg Elliott.
Yes.
Damon Capel.
Yes.
Joe's.
Yes.
St. John.
Yes.
Martin Fisher.
Yes.
Cindy Cooper. Yes. Dave Martin.
Yes.
7 yeas.
We're on to the visitors section. Do we have any visitors? Okay. On to committee reports. We will go around the horn. Mr. Martin.
I'll yield my time to Mr. Ghost.
Same.
Thank you. We have 2 yields.
Nothing to report here.
And a 3rd yield. They not have anything to report.
I do. So we had an opportunity to go to the school board meeting a couple weeks ago. Just hit on a couple topics real quick. One is that they are set for basically a regular start to the school year in fall. They plan on no virtual component. And they're going to do a staggered start through August 18th to 20th. So by the 23rd, they would have all of the students in. As far as construction goes on the school, the elementary school is essentially done, adding rooftop AC units basically. And the high school is on schedule for them to get keys December 1st and move in, start classes in January in the middle of the school year. And then the last thing, and I don't have a lot of details on this and I didn't get to stay through the whole discussion, but they mentioned the potential for a new levy to hit the ballot either this fall or in the spring potentially.
I did hear that.
Operating levy.
Yes.
Yeah.
operating budget. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ghost?
Yes, Parks meeting was held just prior to this meeting this evening. Couple minor items were discussed with regard to doing some tree maintenance around the square. Going to get a couple estimates there. And talked about some minor vandalism that was done out at the Rosecrans Park area. Just some trash can and other damage out there. So we're going to look into maybe getting some estimates together for some solar powered motion detection or something. We're going to go out and meet with Brad Gerwig over there and see what could be done to help prevent that in the future. Then we talked about still working on getting a volunteer project list together. Cindy, I think Ms. Cooper is going to work on that in a little more detail for us, along with city administrator. And then the big item we'd had on the agenda was with the visitor, Silas Bowers, he's former Powell Parks director, now I think the city director, operations director actually for Orange Township. And but he's also, the reason he was here was because he's a board member for the Big Walnut Youth Sports Organization. And he gave us an update on how they're doing and seems to be doing really well. I think basically they're the filtering device for all the youth sports now in the community, except for, I think it was men's lacrosse primarily, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Lacrosse
we're
was
still-
not included.
Still working on that one, but so they're doing real well. You expressed a really good concern of, or interest, I should say, in collaborating with the village in the future and the Parks Committee on anything we want to do with them in the future as we get more funding. So it was a good meeting.
They communicate with the lacrosse association, but the lacrosse association in this area belongs to a bigger lacrosse association. So they couldn't find their way to be in both groups at that point.
That's it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Elliott.
Nothing for me.
We are on. The police report. Sir? Is in our packet.
Yes, sir.
There's a few on here. I'll let you redo it on your time for some of the details. But there's just a few things I want to cover here. One on the training that we talked about, council. Officer Springer, he returns to active duty the first week of August, not for medical procedure. Spoke with him, he got two prospective dates. August 11th is a Wednesday or August 18th. See what you guys have in preference with those days. One's on council on it, one's not. Looking at about 3 hours for the scenarios to run through and cover some vehicle approaches and research scenarios.
What were the dates again?
August 11th or August 18th.
I would recommend we do the 11th since we have a council meeting on the 18th. That would be kind of hard to do.
I'll be out of town on the 11th, but send me a video and I'd love to watch.
You can't get out there easy.
Yeah, you get to join in.
Need some alternative dates.
And then if we were to all participate at the same time, would we need to invite the public to hang out with us?
That'd be fun.
You know what it was like last time.
Right.
It's very, I mean, there was a few other people maybe from Civic that I thought about maybe like on, but just participating.
It's a good idea.
Realistic, but it's.
We'll get back to you by the next meeting. We'll see council
Try
and
to set something up for like both those dates. We'll try the 11th and then like, of course, either or now we'll do it for council.
That's what I was thinking, if it's, we shouldn't all do it together, right? Or else it'd have to be a public meeting, so maybe we do both dates and figure out who can make the 11th and who can make the 18th.
I can check on the following Wednesday after the 18th, but I'm on vacation, but
25th.
that works.
okay. All right. Look at all the dates, 11, 18, 25.
Is this something in the evening?
What's that?
Is this in the evening or during the day?
We haven't got a time set up yet, so I can get the date of what we want to do. You know, what we're supposed to do. I assume probably like 5 to 8 type things. So they realize it's-
Sounds like a plan. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, if there's something else you guys need or better times, you guys just let us know. We'll make that happen.
Thank you.
We had probably the biggest crowd I've ever seen in Square before. With everybody that's here, it's still, it was basically no. I got to think, you know, Kathy and Cindy and everybody that had a hand to put that together, they cleared that out really well and it's worked. A couple minor incidents in the evening with reckless driver and some underage kids, but that was it. It was nothing like we expected.
Well, that's great.
Just a reminder, we're trying to have this auction 28th of this month. Yeah, we plan on that at 5:30. Yeah, time. I had the date, just didn't have time.
You hold that, I'm sorry, you hold that out at the lot? At the lot, right? Impound lot.
I would say one thing on the parade that we need to probably think about. Especially in these kid areas, halfway up the block on Columbus Street, at Granville, and then through probably the corner at least, onto Cherry, probably needs to be ropes. At least it creates a visual barrier to where I said to Allison, and I don't know who else was out there, I said, you guys need 10-foot arms, because there were literally kids this far from either side of the car when we drove by. And the problem is, and Dave will probably remember this, there was a kid that fell under a float.
Yeah.
This has been 8 years ago, and my uncle grabbed him out or he would have been killed. It was a grab roll, got the kid out of there. And they were just, it's hard, like you said, it was, my gosh, those kids were 8, 10 deep in some places. And she can shush them back, or he can shush them back, but if they at least had a rope where they could say, all kids behind the rope, then at least the parents have something to say to the kid, you got me behind the rope. Make something. You don't want to see a kid get hurt. And they run out for the candy, and
See, that was the biggest thing that I seen was kids coming up for candy. And then at the end of the parade, we tried to put 2 cruisers in the back. Because they're still running. Once fire trucks come by, they're still running out. So we tried to take out both lanes and kind of follow the parade, but then when the rest of the blocks. I know what you're saying.
it's imperfect. There's no doubt about it. It might be a little better. I'm not saying it's going to solve everything, but
I had
Just
one-
like it's a good idea.
I had one kid that ran out behind the car in front of mine to grab a piece of candy, ran all the way halfway across the street into the middle of the street and ran back. So
Well,
it's,
I don't know if we can have some type of instructions to the people that are throwing that candy, but literally the amount of candy that's thrown out there is, the candy's just sitting there. There's so much damn
Yeah.
candy, the kids don't even pick it up.
Right.
I was walking
What happened
behind,
to throwing a piece or two of candy? We're, throwing
Handfuls.
10 pieces
Yeah.
at a time, and it's
Yeah.
not making it into the crowd.
right.
You gotta either hand it out or throw it far enough to where it's not landing in the street.
our toddlers were throwing it on the hillsides and in the gutters. And there was one older gentleman all by himself in the middle of his driveway that got a whole bucket of candy. So it's
And that's
chaos.
probably, you're right, that's probably it. It's the younger kids
Yeah.
that are wanting to be involved in that process. And I don't know what what the answer is there either, but it does end up in either spots where it's becoming litter because an hour later in that kind of heat, it's all melted and no one can eat it anyway. Or, it's creating a dangerous situation, so.
Chief, was there any follow-up on the thefts, the car break-ins in the Meadows?
Yes, Tex is working on that. Couple of the cars have been spotted in other jurisdictions. Southern Franklin County, doing the same thing. They have both of our stolen cars done in the state of Scranton against the light. They both our cars down there. Actually, I have a picture of the Jeep tag because it was suspicious. And by the time we got to it, they were 2 cars that were stolen up here, still. We know we've got two possibly identified the juveniles. Those vehicles that were taken the same night. When those vehicles were recovered. Picture showed they keep going back to the same gas stations and stuff in the same area and use the credit cards and things that they're stealing out of these cars before. There's so many agencies working on this group. They haven't.
And was all the theft strictly unlocked vehicles or did they break it? Okay.
There was no windows broke, no. Everything they got was vehicles were locked. This was all. These were in the vehicles.
So good chance we'll probably see him back again at some point.
Yeah, what you don't know is we've taken these reports for the last 18 months and we've been in those neighborhoods several times and that.
So these same suspects have been in custody before.
Not here.
Right.
They all arrest records. And
Mhm.
we had one, I'll tell you about now, that we took stealing stuff out of cars in custody. Could be couple of them, 17 years old. Could couple because he had gunshot wound from before he was doing the same thing, he got shot at once. And it was probably, let's say 2 months later, same guy. Some stuff down on this and had a standoff with SWAT and the shot right at SWAT. It's just, they have no fear of them. Yes, it's basically in done, just when I see that. You guys want to, we got a lot of complaints up on Springfield Street, I'm sure you're all aware that we had a fatality crash up there. That was began for us. Some of the neighbors up there had concerns about vehicles speeding through that area. We set one of the speed signs up right at Walnut coming in on 37. So as soon as you come around the curve there, across the bridge, either right before or when you enter the court, it was taking your speed. So for a 7-day period, there was almost 7,500 cars. And then I broke that down for you. 1,813 of those were between 35 and 45. 438 of them were above 40 but under 45. 106 of those vehicles were 10 mile an hour or more out of 75. That, like I said, is when you're first hit the 35. So 5,139 of those cars were doing 35 or below.
So 5 out of 7 were within the speed limit.
Yes, when I went through the data, I should have printed that out, put it there with you, but when I went through and checked the data, and it shows you the hour, it brings it off every half hour of the traffic that comes through and gives you an hour. And then it gives you the speeds, and there was no speed on there that even averaged the speed limit at any time there. They were all right at the 34, 35 on average. But it also tells us how many violators you have.
What were the circumstances briefly of that fatality?
The thing I can tell you is it was early in the morning, the lady was jogged. It's not known if she used the new lights that we installed at the crosswalk. The gentleman that hit her stated he was doing 35, so the voice crosses that sign, it's the cruise and it's 35. So when he got on the scene, her brakes to go to the left lane, she took off running, trying to get away from him. And they were both in opposite lane. I know the guy's truck was still running. They left it on, they loaded it up running to take it back and check the electronics and make sure that.
Was there a citation or anything?
Wasn't he a Shell employee
Yes.
and volunteered to be drug tested and alcohol tested to take me in running? No one to be tested.
No passengers, no witnesses.
Was the impact, because her home, she would have had to walk back. She walks by her house every day.
Yeah, she.
She was this happened, my wife said, I know who that is. That's terrible. You see her every day. she would have had to go backwards, meaning towards the city limits to get to that flashing crosswalk, whereas coming right out her doorway to go where she normally goes, there would not be a crosswalk. Was the impact in front of her house? Or was it the crosswalk?
That appeared that she was actually at the crosswalk, but we don't know if she was.
Does she have headphones on or something, not paying attention? Or
I don't think so. That was never mentioned. The driver said, I've seen her and she ran trying to go in and they both find it.
how old was she?
Just yesterday, we put the speed sign back at Long Springfield. I will check on traffic going out of town. So now we'll know what they're doing to pass. Certifying when they're top of the hill, when they hit that school zone, basically. We have no plan if these cars are going 35 or, you know, it's too fast in the school zone. Nothing to do about that school zone section. It's 35 miles an hour. Like flashing for kids there. Maybe a school there. The rest of my house is just a breakdown of the calls.
I just want to say the chief helped arrange a ride along for me. I rode along with an officer a couple weeks ago now. And at the request of you guys mentioned it in council. And so thank you, chief, for arranging that for me. And it was great. I really enjoyed it. And if you haven't done a ride along or it's been a while, I really suggest doing it. The officer I was with said they're open to it. They're happy to have people ride along with them. It was really a good experience. So I would recommend it to anyone who hasn't done one or hasn't done one in a while.
Appreciate you taking the time. She can come back and talk to me later and we talk about it.
I will not be signing up for the academy on the record.
Make sure you do one during the graveyard shift, the nighttime shift.
Well, she did get to see.
I think it's in.
Traffic stop. It kind of took her a bit longer.
Oh, that's good.
They found some drugs.
Yeah.
I got to see a lot in one stop. It was good.
Good deal. Thank you very much. Any questions for the chief? Any other questions? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
We're on to the administrator report. Alan?
Okay, just a couple items. My personnel update, I am in the process of writing an offer letter to one of our administrative clerk candidates. Hope to have that out tomorrow and give you the details as to when that individual is going to start, but we're very close to getting the position that was formerly held by June Deal part-time filled in a full-time capacity. So that's exciting. It's also exciting to say that Michael Cosson from Marengo will be starting at the wastewater treatment plant on July the 12th. So this coming Monday, we'll have one of the two new wastewater treatment operators on board, and hopeful 2 weeks or so after that to be able to name another one and have two on board.
Thank you very much.
The only other couple things is I included in your packet the notice we just received yesterday from the Census Bureau. And while I was hopeful that they were going to name us a city, they're not quite that far yet, but they are hiring individuals for field representatives in a number of capacities. And I've got that information that we'll put on the Facebook, and if anyone's interested in that, I'm mentioning it now. So there are part-time job opportunities with the Census Bureau for the remainder, at least till September. So
I saw four sections on there, $15 to $24, working from home, mileage reimbursement.
56 cents a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not bad.
Part-time
too.
Part-time.
after hours. And then the only other update is we talked last meeting and purchased the bucket truck. We can't get that soon enough, but we're hopeful to get it within 2 weeks. Kathy and Brad are really burning the midnight oil and talking to the purveyors of the truck and figuring out the best way for us to get it the quickest. And we're hopeful we'll have it in 2 weeks. Where, as you know, there are numerous outages and things that we can be using that truck for. Brad assures me that he has all the supplies and things we need so that when the truck comes, we won't be waiting. We'll be ready to ramp up immediately. So we'll certainly keep you posted on that.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
All
Thanks.
right, thank you very much, Alan. David Parkinson, our engineer.
Thank you, Mayor. The Fallen Heroes Trail Phase 2, we open bids tomorrow. We'll be back at council in 2 weeks asking to award the contract, we hope. Project is slated to be completed this year. We continue work on the facility plan update. At the current time, the report is going through internal reviews in our office. The 2021 wastewater treatment plant improvement project, the plans and specs continue to make progress. We aren't quite there yet, but we're working hard on them. The Ohio EPA loan application through the Water Pollution Control Loan Fund program. We're borrowing money to pay for the facility plan update and the design of the improvements. The final documents were submitted, completing our application this afternoon. We're hoping that it will be considered and approved at the July 22nd board meeting. The 2021 street program was opened on June 29th. The apparent low bidder and the lowest and most responsive bidder was Columbus Asphalt Paving. Their bid was $537,000. The engineer's estimate was $598,000. So we had good bids on that. We had 4 bids and they were all pretty tight. I believe that's on your agenda tonight to award that contract. Magnolia Park subdivision, that's been a long time coming, but we're finally there. We have approvable construction plans. On your agenda tonight will be an ordinance that will ask for you to approve the amendments to the development plan as recommended by planning and zoning. If you are willing, or if it is passed, the next ordinance will be to approve the construction plans. And I do believe that they are anxious to get started. Again, it's been a long time to get to this point. Price Ponds, the preliminary plat was approved by planning and zoning, but there were a number of contingencies placed upon it. The applicant has submitted information to clear those contingencies. I've reviewed them. There is one item of continued discussion at this moment. Probably the key thing to this is that they have rephased the project, and phase 1 will include the extension of Millstone Drive from the current terminus all the way to Golf Course Road. So we'll have a continuous road all the way through the development from the initial start, and that'll give them 2 main points of access, which is important to the fire department. And with that new road goes right by the reserve, the 20 acres of legacy woods that they're going to dedicate. So they'll be able to dedicate that property to us with the phase 1 plat. So that was good that they were able to do that. I am meeting with the contractor for the reservoirs project tomorrow. They're gearing up to begin, and they just want to make sure that we're all on the same page of what they're going to do. We expect them to finish early this fall with that project. There's really not a lot to do. It's just a matter of getting to it. I think you've all seen that the West Cherry Street turn lane is substantially complete. There is one missing item. We want to paint the noses of the center island yellow, and we're waiting to get that paint delivered. The Little Walnut Creek Interceptor sewer continues. They're going through the deepest, muckiest part right now, so they're not making a lot of progress, but they're hoping to break out of that pretty soon and actually start making better progress and earning a little money. The car wash, the schools, Miller Drive office building, and Mr. Newman are all making good progress with their private developments. We reviewed we have currently 4 house reviews under progress, and we have 5 right-of-way permit applications under review at this time. And with that, I'll be happy to try to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Parkinson?
Thank
We're
you.
on resolutions. Thank you, sir. We have a second reading on resolution 2021.10, resolution authorizing the village director of finance to expend funds from police impact fees to purchase patrol rifles and declaring an emergency. I discussed this with the chief. This can wait one more reading. Thank you. We have no first readings and we're on to ordinances. Ordinance number 2021.26 is the third reading. An ordinance to establish revised flood prevention regulations and to repeal any conflicting ordinances. And this is the third reading and
I'll make a motion to approve
We have a
ordinance
motion.
2021.26.
thank you, sir. We have a motion by David Martin,
Second.
second by Martin Fisher. Discussion by Martin. Roll call.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
St. John,
Yes.
Ghost,
Yes.
Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas.
We have a second reading ordinance number 2021.27. An ordinance authorizing the sale of unneeded, obsolete, or unfit personal property at public auction pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 721.15 and declaring an emergency. I just wanted to clarify, are we looking to pass this? Okay, because we got it. Thank you. We have a second reading there. We're on to first readings, ordinance 2021.30, an ordinance approving the execution of an amendment to the development agreement with Savenco LLC for a project known as Magnolia Park and declaring an emergency. I believe we do have the applicant in the lobby if we need them. There are two ordinances associated with Magnolia Park. That's 2021.30 and 2021.31. And are we looking to have them speak?
I think Mr. Bream and I could speak to it adequately if you would like.
Yes,
The
sir.
amendment, as they were preparing the plans, a few things came up. And one is they would like to revise the phasing. The original phase one was to come in off of Cheshire and include just that first little section of the school. And it only included 6 lots. That was an awful lot of infrastructure to pay for out of the sale of 6 lots. So they asked if phase one could come in off of Fairland Drive instead. And I think there's 13 or 15 lots off of that. So they've asked to make that phase one, comes up to the school, opens up more lots initially, and then they'll continue from there. And basically all they've done is flip-flopped phases 1 and 2. The other part is they were developing their landscape plan. They committed to us to plant 250 trees within the development. There just isn't room for 250 trees on their little 20-acre development with some of the preserve areas they've left and the stormwater basins they've got. And so they've asked to revise that down to 100 trees. They are still offering some amount of money. I forget the exact number. I want to say it's $1,100 and change per door. That's cash in lieu of tree replacement. And what they did was the original development agreement had the original number of lots, 37. And during the preliminary platting stages, that number was increased to 39. So the development plan was adjusted to make the math work with the 39 lots and the commitment per door and how they propose to pay that cost as well. I think that was the extent of the amendments. It was presented to Planning and Zoning Commission at the request of the law director. Planning and Zoning discussed it and they passed it, if that's the right term, and have submitted it to you with recommendation for approval.
Yeah, the highlight of the amendment was we asked them to put in a certain amount of trees. They couldn't fit it with the amount of property that they had. And so they're paying cash in lieu.
This project has had a little bit of a history in as far as the engineer that they're using now was not the engineer they had before. I really think there's being a significant amount of more thorough and investigative study on the project. And kind of the hands are being thrown up that I don't know, there was no way this should have been agreed to, it just can't be done. So again, commission, it was presented to them, planning commission, who reviewed all this in detail, and it was approved unanimously. Again, it was an ordinance that approved the original agreement, so this is an amendment to the ordinance, so it's brought forward to you for final approval. But we are looking forward to getting this done. And I don't know if you mentioned, but you mentioned the phasing of the price development. This phasing and that phasing will now line up, which is one thing that the chief of the fire department was concerned about. This will allow, as those two develop out in their initial phases, there be connectivity between the two, which was a concern of his when he came forward to planning commission. So we're really, their requested modifications are helping to satisfy the fire department as well. So.
Any questions on this?
No, it appears they might want to speak. You want to check with that, Mr. Mayor?
Hello, Mr. Gardner, Mr. Alfor. Can you hear us?
Hi, how are you?
We're well. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thanks. I'm Andrew Gardner with V3 Companies. I'm a civil engineer for the project. Sounds like you got a little echo going there. So, I don't really have anything to add other than just happy to answer any questions that you all might have in addition to Dave's presentation.
What's your build out plan, number of months or years for the whole project?
Fowler, do you want to speak to that?
Definitely for the infrastructure and the roadways is gonna be maximum 2 years, but developing the lots is based on the market. So I assume the market is good, maybe within 4 years, all of them will be built.
Thank you.
Right. Any questions on this? Are you prepared to take action on this? Does anybody have any questions? You're not going to take action or ask questions?
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
We have a motion to suspend the rules by David Martin,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Tim Ghost. Discussion? Roll call.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Tim Ghost,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Elliot,
Yes.
St. John,
Yes.
Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas.
Motion on the emergency.
We have a motion on emergency ordinance 2021.30,
Second.
second by Tim Ghost. Discussion? Roll call.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Tim Ghost,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
St. John,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas.
And I'll make a motion on ordinance 2021.30.
Motion on ordinance 2021.30 by Mr. Martin,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Ghost. Discussion? Roll call.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Tim Ghost,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
St. John,
Yes.
Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas.
Motion passes. We're on to ordinance 2021.31, an ordinance approving the construction improvement plan sets for storm, street lighting, water, and sanitary sewer improvements from Magnolia Park subdivision and declaring an emergency. And these are the associated plans that have gone through rezoning, development plan, amendment to the development plan, several engineering reviews, and legal reviews.
Correct. And we've reviewed them, found them to be approvable. The reason they come second is because they were prepared in anticipation of approval of the development agreement, and they follow the conditions of that development agreement amendment.
Any questions at this time? Make a motion to suspend the rules on ordinance 2021.31.
Second.
Second by Damon Capel. Discussion? Roll call.
St. John,
Yes.
Capel,
Yes.
Ghost,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
7 yeas.
Make a motion on the emergency ordinance 2021.31.
Second.
Second by Damon Capel. Discussion? Roll call.
St. John,
Yes.
Capel,
Yes.
Ghost,
Yes.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
7 yeas.
Make a motion on ordinance 2021.31.
Second.
Second by Damon Capel. Discussion? Roll call.
St. John,
Yes.
Capel,
Yes.
Ghost,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
7 yeas.
Magnolia Park, you're on your way. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So have a good evening.
Agree.
We're on to ordinance 2021.32, an ordinance awarding the contract for the 2021 Village Street improvements to Columbus Asphalt Paving and declaring an emergency. This is, we did an amendment to the appropriations that were approved last week or the week before. Basically, we upped our game. We didn't get a grant. We're looking to expend about $530,000 or thereabouts on street improvement plans. We'd like to get that work started sooner than later. And we got a good bid back. Does anybody have any questions on the bids in particular?
Just confirmation that scopes, line items, everything was cleared by your firm. And
Yes.
like, just because they're low, they didn't omit or miss anything.
No, it's good bid. Columbus Asphalt has done our annual street program the last 2 years.
Okay.
They also did the first phase of the Fallen Heroes Trail. They're good to work with. I think they like working in Sunbury. They understand what Sunbury wants in their projects, and I think they've developed a process that allows them to give us good prices. So we're pleased.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules by Damon Capel,
Second.
second by Gregory Elliott. Discussion? Roll call.
Damon Capel?
Yes.
Greg Elliott?
Yes.
Goth?
Yes.
St. John?
Yes.
Martin Fisher?
Yes.
Cindy Cooper?
Yes.
Dave Martin?
Yes.
7 yeas.
Motion on the emergency.
Motion on the emergency ordinance 2021.32.
Second.
Second by Gregory Elliott. Discussion? Roll call.
Damon Capel?
Yes.
Greg Elliott?
Yes.
Goth?
Yes.
St. John?
Yes.
Martin Fisher?
Yes.
Cindy Cooper?
Yes.
Dave Martin?
Yes.
7 yeas.
Motion on ordinance number 2021.32.
Motion on the ordinance.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gregory Elliott. Discussion? Let's fix these streets. Roll call.
Damon Capel?
Yes.
Greg Elliott?
Yes.
Goth?
Yes.
St. John?
Yes.
Martin Fisher?
Yes.
Cindy Cooper?
Yes.
Dave Martin?
Yes.
7 yeas.
We're on to a first reading on ordinance 2021.33, an ordinance approving the commercial and industrial site plan for a building application of Story Properties LLC and Vantage Logistics for the construction of a building expansion and relocated site for parking to be located at 730 Kinder Parkway and declaring an emergency. And just orienting yourself of this building, some of you were actually involved in the initial building plan approval. It is the last building on Kinder Parkway before you would reach the new school access drive. It is on the north side of Kinder Parkway. Really nice building, actually. They've grown exponentially. They had always planned on that footprint to virtually double the size of the building. It's got curbs. They're looking to put in trees. I mean, it's going to look really nice. It's kind of the corner right before you turn north into Prairie Run Elementary School. So we did hear this at zoning. I should have mentioned that earlier. We had the applicants in here, talked about their growth model, why they're excited to be in Sunbury. They're actually, I think, going to pave some additional sections that are not paved today. And for all intents and purposes, make it almost an exact replica of the building that they have in place. It's brick facade on the outside, like a brown brick. And it's definitely one of the, I would say, more modern, architecturally sound. I won't go there. It's a nice looking building. They did a nice job. Anything else from Mr. Parkinson or Mr. Green on that? Or Alan?
Yes, thank you. It was passed with contingencies for plan approval by the engineer. There are major revisions that need to occur as a result of the conversation. So tonight we would only ask for a first reading.
Sounds like a great plan to me. Thank you. It's queued up. All right, we are on to new and unfinished business. We're going to start with Mr. Gregory Elliott.
Nothing from me.
All right, Mr. Tim Ghost,
Nothing tonight, sir.
Mr. David Kaplan,
Nothing here.
Martin Fisher, nothing here. Mrs. Cindy Cooper.
Yes, an employee from Community Library reached out to me today. They're planning their fall activities and they would like to know when trick or treat is going to be for Sunbury. I'm telling you, I'm not reaching out to these people, but we have some planners in Sunbury and I appreciate that. So I just wanted to open that back up. I know we have more to do, so I'm not trying to make this a long discussion. I do not have personal feelings towards this. I know a lot of us have kids, but just opening it up, I would like to maybe try Sunday the 31st. And then next year, I'm sure Halloween will probably fall on a Monday and then we won't have any more problems for 4 years. But if anyone is strictly thinking they want to stick on the 29th, I'm happy to hear that. And
What was, Chief, can you, I can't remember if there was any issues with the Sunday evening compared to the Thursday.
No, they're about the same for us. Like I spoke to Ms. Cooper. Sunday actually works out better for us as far as manpower and whatnot. And also, I would think it would work out better for the general public for like, you got a guy that works second shift, or his wife works second shift, they don't have vacation day on Thursday.
Yep.
They're sitting home on Sunday. It just works out.
Yeah, maybe you'll get some more, dual parents involved, both parents involved, available.
I did do a tiny bit of Cindy's homework assignment. Then the people that I talked to thought the 31st was a fine idea.
I too did. 100% of the population I asked said October 31st.
what did you say?
All three of your
I said
neighbors.
100% population I pulled said October 31st, and that other person was my wife.
I will,
Hey, happy wife, happy life.
I will say people I talked to said the 31st. It was either the 31st or it didn't matter. Like the people I talked to. So
Okay.
I do think we need to establish an alternate date this year, because that was the whole problem
Yes, sir.
last year.
Yep.
And there were a lot of people that felt really jaded, what might be why you've gotten so many calls this year. Because people just kind of got left out and weren't able to do it.
Right.
So definitely setting a rain date would be a good idea
Okay.
ahead of time.
Publicize it, said it,
Yeah.
publicize.
So it's out there, and then, if the call is made, everybody should be somewhat prepared for it.
There's got to be a deadline when that call's got to be made. too.
Yes.
And we got to figure out like what the criteria are. And I'm not involved in that decision-making process. And Greg, thanks for owning it. Let us know what the date's going to be. We're making a
My kid's
motion for
sitting
October
on it. She don't-
31st.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that trick or treat is on Sunday, October 31st. Do we want to do the same? What do we normally do? 6 to 8?
I believe so, yeah.
We're good with that? From 6 to 8 on October 31st with a rain date of Monday, November 1st from 6 to 8.
I'll
Sounds-
second the motion.
Got a motion on the floor. Trick or treat by Cindy Cooper for 2021 is going to be October 31st. Seconded by
From
David
6 PM to 8 PM, right?
From 6 PM to 8 PM. Yes, sir. Is there any discussion?
Greg Elliott gets to choose what Mayor St. John dresses up as.
second.
Everybody mute their mics. Roll call.
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
St. John,
Yes.
Ghost,
Yes.
Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas.
Any other new or
Thank you.
unfinished business by Mrs. Cindy Cooper?
That's it for tonight.
All right, Mr. David Martin.
I just wanted to say thanks to the Civic Association. They did a remarkable job this weekend. and
I'll second
It
that.
was really spectacular.
And
Thanks
the,
for all your help
yeah.
and all you did.
the chamber too.
The chamber. too.
Yeah, chamber also.
Totally agree. Anything else?
No.
I wanted to echo that as well. The parade was insanely awesome. I was so happy to see that many people out and about smiling, screaming and yelling, and like weather was perfect. I also wanted to say a big special thanks to Kathy Belcher, Teresa Dronsfeld, Cindy Ert, obviously huge participant, all the volunteers, and just everybody in our community making that a very, very special day. I think there were a lot of great memories made by all, and I know my family had talked about it like all weekend, so it was great. Thank you very much. Also wanted to mention that we are still keeping the hammer down on AEP. I didn't mention this at our last meeting. We did file a complaint with the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio for basically, I mean, they're a utility, they're a non-governmental body, but they're the only show in town. We haven't been getting the responsiveness or even data requests back on outages. We don't have visibility into all of our residential outages. And when we get questioned about it, what we're doing about it, personally, I tell them I don't know what else to do. So this was a last ditch effort. I know that Galena had done the same thing. We did get a response from actually AEP stating that they're accelerating their plans that they had slated to start in 2022 for duplication of lines and tree removal and different things like that. They're accelerating to start, in the third quarter of this year. Whether that makes the difference we're all looking for and prevents future outages, I don't know. But this is the next logical step, and we'll take further action on behalf of the residents if needed. So I had. All right, with that said, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session, Ohio Revised Code 121.22, parenthetical G, to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official.
And if we could add another subject to that, conferences with an attorney regarding pending or imminent litigation.
Thank you.
Regarding what?
Pending or imminent litigation.
There's an impact
Added.
fee report ahead of that. Was there anything we needed?
I'm so sorry about that, Steve.
That's okay. I had to file it this meeting, so it's been filed. You have really until the next budget cycle to take that into account, but there is, if you read my memo, I'm asking you the question of, is that county city average, which is above the 5%, appropriate or not? That's your piece of this to say that's appropriate or it's not. You can do that at the next meeting if you want to. It's not done.
And this is the annual review that we do.
It is.
And it's related, but it's not really, the Tischler Advice study results that we've been going for. This is the annual review and what we're proposing to do, a 5% increase for this fiscal year starting in July, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that. I do have a motion on the floor. Second by Gregory Elliott. Discussion real quick. I'd like to see who all we need in this executive session. And I would say we need David Breen. And we need, does anybody else have anybody else that we would like to invite? Good. All right, then I think that's it.
Great. John,
Yes.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Tim Ghost,
Yes.
Jamie Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas.
Thank you very much.